I don't think alcohol is... It can numb you or blind you to the inaccuracies around you, and so that you feel more immersed. But you can feel immersed and distracted by the people around you. And
I could definitely be distracted by the people around me.
Yeah. So but it's easy.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Straight Edge Tiki. And this is my journey in the world of Tiki without the booze.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Sean. This is my friend Sean. Sean's been on the show before.
Yep.
And we actually did a My Favorite Mai Tai episode with... using the ritual.
Yep, the ritual rum alternative, and then a little bit of bitters in it to help. But
yeah, and then we actually used the DHOS, which was like a non-alcoholic orange liqueur, and it was a great Mai Tai. And you actually make a lot of non-alcoholic drinks, and why is that?
Sometimes the alcohol isn't what is important about the event. Sometimes you want to be able to be social and have a good time.
Yeah.
And alcohol can get in the way of that occasionally. And so you need to have opportunities to have a good time without the alcohol. And you need to be able to have a good time without the alcohol. It's, alcoholic drinks are fun, but it shouldn't be the end all and be all of any event.
Well, sometimes I think about, like, what I love about Tiki is the environment. I love the escapism.
Mm-hmm.
There's some places that we've gone to where you go in and, like, the outside world is no longer a reality. Alcohol definitely helps with that escape. But then it makes me think, it's like, well, do you really need it, though?
It's easy to say, oh, the alcohol is going to affect how you experience a tiki bar or someone's home bar or anything you're doing. But really, you're using an artificial distraction, whereas there's some legitimate, real things that are going on. Exotica music.
Yeah.
The conversations with the people that you're with. Because Tiki, more than anything else, for me, has always been the people that you're with.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I think about is, there's a lot of people I know in the Tiki community and just in general that have, like, social anxieties.
Mm-hmm.
And they like Tiki because it's, for them, they can kind of hide, kind of sit back in a Tiki hut, in a dark Tiki hut, and they feel like the world's not on them, looking at them or anything like that. And obviously the alcohol loosens them up and relaxes them. But I think you don't necessarily need that. I think if you have the environment, if you're around friends that make you feel comfortable, you can still have that.
Yeah. Well, and as far as alcohol goes, I've always been of the opinion that what alcohol does is it is a magnifier of the emotions you're feeling at the time.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to be relaxed and you're using alcohol to relax, sometimes it will do that. But if you are feeling that social anxiety or that need to be away from people, having alcohol is going to enhance that feeling. And it can be a real negative impact on having a good, fun time with the people you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
So having non-alcoholic alternatives and definitely wanting to be inclusive to people who don't want to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
You want them to come to your events and have a good time because they're fun people to be around.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is, at the end of the day, you just want to have a good taste and drink in your hand.
Absolutely. That is the key, right? Regardless of what's in it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's I don't know how it is for you, Sean, but it is for me. It's like there's certain places that I go to, like certain tiki bars, where I always order like the same 2 or 3 drinks. So it isn't like I necessarily need variety so much, but as long as I have a good taste and drink in my hand, I'm okay. And actually, we were just at the Devil's Reef over the weekend. And Jason Alexander actually does have a couple non-alcoholic drinks. Yeah, I think it was a non-alcoholic shrunken skull and a non-alcoholic zombie. And they were great. They were great. I mean, yeah, you could definitely tell that there's no alcohol. There's no rum in it, and you can definitely tell that. But the drinks were good. The drinks were great. And I felt I didn't feel left out at all hanging out with
And they
everyone.
were tiki.
And they were definitely tiki drinks.
Holly Pele has similar. They have
Yeah.
a whole menu section of non-alcoholic drinks to come in, experiment with, and try. And they are definitely tiki drinks. They're definitely what you're looking for when you're going to a tiki bar, without having the impact of the ethanol from rum or bourbon or whatever tiki alcohol you're having.
We have these rum alternatives.
Yeah.
And we're going to try all of them. And one thing that you know, if you're into making cocktails out there, especially tiki cocktails, you have drinks that have usually 1, 2, 3 shots of rum in it, and different types of rum and stuff like that. I mean, like, Jamaican, a dark Jamaican, Barbados, whatever. And you can recreate these cocktails with these rum alternatives.
You can start to recreate them. There's some of the texture and layers that an alcohol will provide, and some of that is just the burn of ethanol.
Yeah.
Is never going to be in a non-alcoholic tiki drink. It will have the fruits and the bitters and that tropical feel, that dark tropical feel, but it won't have the ethanol bite, and that is something that you have to bear in mind when you're having these.
Well, we're going to try each of these, and we're going to see how they taste. We're going to start with the Lyres. This is white cane spirit. So I guess this is going to mimic, or is trying to mimic, like a white rum or a light rum.
Yeah, what people might consider the basic rum out there.
So let's try this.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes. Here's the straight edge tiki.
Straight edge tiki. I will say it's really easy to take a shot of non-alcoholic rum.
What do you think?
Honestly, it's sweet, but it's got a spiciness to it that I really think works well for beyond what a regular white rum would do. And I kind of like that.
It doesn't have much bite to me.
Not a lot of bite, no. But it's supposed to be mild, I think. I think they're intending it to be a mild flavor.
Yeah.
Non-tiki world, they might be aiming this for a rum and coke type of drink.
What flavors do you taste?
I'm definitely tasting some cardamom.
Yeah.
Maybe a little cinnamon, but I'm not sure about the cinnamon, but definitely cardamom, maybe a little nutmeg.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of cinnamon. I'm going to say this right off the bat. This does not taste like rum.
That is true, yes.
Not even close, but I'm thinking how this would potentially work for a non-alcoholic tiki drink or any non-alcoholic cocktails is it's like if you're not going to have the alcohol in the drink, you need to replace it with something. Mm-hmm. And one strategy is what I'm learning is rack up the syrups or the juices, And another thing, but what could this be is I don't know how much this is going to add flavor to a tiki drink, but I don't think it's going to take anything away from it. Right. So I think it's actually going to work how a white rum is, which is there's not really much taste to a white rum either.
Right. Well, you know what this would be good with?
What's that?
Daiquiri. Classic daiquiri.
Okay.
Maybe even remove the simple syrup.
Yeah.
Go with the lime juice and the white cane spirit from Lyres.
Yeah.
Get it really cold. Put in a really cold daiquiri glass. And that's going to be a tasty drink. I think this would work really well with that because it's crisp.
I think you're right. I mean, I think this would work as a decent base for a drink.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
A drink where say there's some tiki drinks out there that have a lot of ingredients in it.
Yes.
And I think in a situation like that, this might be a good thing where it's probably just going to blend into the cocktail. This isn't something that you need to have this shining through. I was looking for this online, and it's a dark cane spirit. And I'm curious to see how this tastes. Let's try this one.
Well, before we do, I'm wondering if one of the differences between the dark and the white, because it might match closer to a Bacardi Gold or Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Along those lines, is there's probably going to be a little more spice to it, is my guess. There's going to be a little more flavor kick to it, whereas the clear white cane spirit, it really was a very subtle flavor to it. It was there, but it was very, very subtle. And I'm curious if it's going to be stronger in their dark one.
Well, let's try it. Let's see how this goes.
All right, toast.
Toast. Okay, so this is a little bit more what I was thinking.
Definitely.
There's more body to this.
Yeah.
There's way more body to this. And there is a heat in the back end. Mm-hmm. Are you tasting that?
I am. Yeah, maybe a little bit of cayenne.
It's definitely some kind of pepper. But it's not overpowering. I'll be okay right off the bat. I'm going to say this. If anyone's out there who wants to make non-alcoholic tiki cocktails, personally, I would say if I was to choose between the two of these, just go right for this.
Yeah.
There is body to this. There is taste to it. And I like the taste of it.
It's not going to get lost in the drink you're making, definitely. Where the white cane spirit really needs to only have one or two ingredients, this darker one is going to work with more multiple ingredient drinks, I think.
I think so too. It definitely has more of a taste to it, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah, slightly sweeter. Honestly, the sweetness where it was crisper in the white cane, comes across much sweeter in this one.
It has a decent mouthfeel too. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think this is definitely far more superior than the cane. Just saying.
Yeah.
So
if you're looking for something to mix with drinks to make for people, this one is going to work out a lot more often than the white cane spirit.
Yeah, definitely. I recommend this.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then again, again, just putting things on Front Street, it does not taste like rum.
Nothing will. You can't mimic the key parts of what has made rum. You can't mimic vodka. You can mimic gin a little bit because the more complex flavors will come in there. But most non-alcoholic substitutions, they're going to miss the ethanol. And people who have had those drinks before are going to say, "Where's the ethanol?" Now, that said, these are going to make really good drinks.
Yeah.
This one right here is going to make some excellent drinks. It's going to make some of your tiki drinks, if you wanted to take a straight translation over, they're going to be slightly different than what you expect, but they're going to be very, very good.
Now, as Monty Python would say, and now for something completely different. It's Beckett's coconut rum. So let's try this white rum.
All right.
Alternative. I have to keep on saying that.
That coconut smell hits you right as you're drinking it.
That's not bad.
It's sweet. It's definitely coconut-y.
It definitely has the coconut taste.
I think for me there is a non-sugar sweetener flavor in there that I'm noticing on the second drink, and I'm not necessarily liking.
Yeah, it tastes like an artificial sweetener. I agree with you. And one thing that this is missing that didn't really matter so much with these two is there's no fire on the back end.
Right, none. It is sweet coconut syrup. It's not capturing anything that would work for a tiki drink as far as rums go.
Well, I mean, you're right. I'm tasting this artificial sweetener.
It's one of those where...
And the more I taste it, the more sweeter this is. It's okay. I don't, at this point in the game, I don't know if there's other coconut rum alternatives out there. But if you are looking for a coconut rum alternative for your non-alcoholic tiki drinks, I think this might not be so bad.
It could work out. You're going to have to play some blending games with it, I think. In my drinks that I'm going to make that are non-alcoholic, I'm probably going to avoid this one, honestly. It's the after effect of that non-sugar sweetener in there, which needs to be in there because it's a sweeten. That coconut flavor is very sweet.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to mask in something, and I would not want it in any of the drinks that I make.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. So, Try the Beckett's. Your mileage may vary.
Definitely. It's going to fit closer to a Malibu style coconut rum, I think, than
And it doesn't taste. And again,
another.
it doesn't taste like rum. It
Right.
it just tastes like essentially it tastes like a coconut syrup to me. Let's try this Ritual. So you turned me on to this actually, and I've read a lot of reviews on Ritual. They've like won awards with their non-alcoholic spirits. They have a gin, and I think what else is there? Tequila too.
They make a Ritual version of most of the primary alcohols. So
Yeah.
there is a Ritual bourbon alternative. There's a Ritual gin alternative. There's a Ritual vodka alternative. And there's a Ritual rum alternative. And we have bought the rum alternative and the gin alternative in experiments of trying to have nights where we wanted to play with the complex flavors that come with cocktails while not getting silly on nights when you don't need to. You know, alcohol, it impacts the night in a way that you don't expect. Even if you just have one cocktail drink with alcohol in it, it's going to impact you in a way that you're not reasonably going to predict.
Yeah.
And having a fun drink and a chance to hang out without having that worry, Ritual was why we went there, and it's worked out really well for us.
Let's pour ourselves some of this.
Okay.
We already tried this, obviously, in the My Favorite Mai Tai episode, but we're going to pretend that we never tried it before, right? Okay, so right now, right off the bat, Sean, as I'm pouring it, I can smell it. I can smell it. Which, that was not the case with these at all.
Yeah.
It smells good. It smells really good.
It is a very flavorful rum alternative as far as I've noticed. But let's try it by itself.
Let's try it. Okay.
Much more complex than any of the others we've had.
Talk about being on a completely different level.
Without the ethanol, it does have a rum flavor to it that the others didn't necessarily have. They had their own unique flavors, but this has like a little bit of that back of the tongue rum kick.
It has a lot of back of it. There's a fire at the end.
Yeah.
There's a fire at the end, and it's actually still in my mouth, which kind of reminds me of like when you do drink rum straight or any kind of an alcohol straight. There's a lot of body to this. A lot of body.
A lot more
I
than
mean,
what we run into.
more than this.
Interestingly, it's only 5 calories, where these other 3 were all 10 calories. So there is less sugar in this, but they're creating a lot more flavor out of what they're producing.
Molasses?
That's what it feels like. I don't think it can be, because otherwise there'd be more calories.
It doesn't.
But it does feel like that cane sugar product that rum is supposed to be, right?
I can't get over how complex this is. The more I'm drinking this, the more I realize how just complex this is actually.
It has the little bit of spice to it that the dark rum from Lyres has. A little bit bigger of a kick than the Lyres.
This is enjoyable too.
It's really good. This is a good sipper, honestly. This is of the ones we've had.
Yeah, I could sip this.
I could have this just as a glass, maybe a little bit of ice in it.
When I think back to these, they're not bad. But comparing these to the Ritual, the taste that comes to my mind or the mouth feels just thin.
Yes. That's what I was thinking, is this feels more like what you want your spirit, whether it's not alcoholic or non-alcoholic, this is what you want it to feel like when it's going into you. Like it is a comfortable drink.
And I'll say this again. It doesn't taste like rum. Like I'm not tasting this like, oh, this tastes like Appleton.
No, it doesn't taste like Appleton. It doesn't taste like any of the rums that we've had.
But
it doesn't. This is going to be a weird statement. It doesn't not taste like rum. Whereas these definitely don't taste like rum.
No.
This has something to it that's a little bit more complex, a little bit more maybe rum candy-ish without being sweet.
Yeah.
You know, like that flavor you have of something that's like, oh, this is a rum, but it's not anything we've ever had before.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Sean, because it's like I'm drinking this, and it doesn't taste like anything I've ever had before.
No,
I mean,
and it tastes really good.
in my mind, it's like, okay, this is supposed to mimic rum, but it's kind of its own thing.
It really is.
And I'm liking it.
It is a really good version of a non-alcoholic spirit, regardless of what you'd want to call it.
Well, here's something to think about. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had to stop drinking for like health reasons, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have any addiction issues with alcohol, but I only can imagine. So say someone who had to stop because of addiction, right? So say you're like, I can't drink anymore. And say you're trying your best to go down a non-alcoholic route. How good of an idea would it be if you did have these alcohol alternatives, but if they actually tasted like alcohol? Would that be a good thing?
So that's always going to be a complex question. I think there's going to be, it's always a personal question. If the environment you were in is going to cause you to make decisions you otherwise wouldn't want to make, you have to avoid that environment. If it was the cocktails that you were having, and that would trigger further trips down routes you don't want to go, none of these are going to be a great solution. But
that's what I'm saying. I think like I'm rethinking this as we're drinking these. It's like they don't taste like rum to me. They taste like their own things. Even the Lyres have their own taste, and they are tasty. This is the more superior one. But here's the thing. I think it might not be a bad thing that they don't taste like rum.
Oh, definitely. There's a benefit to not being a perfect copy of alcohol, especially for someone who maybe the taste of alcohol is going to be a trigger for them that they don't want in their life.
Exactly. I think maybe they're onto something here. And I think as we go down the road and make more non-alcoholic cocktails, I think one thing I'm going to notice, even myself, like when we made the non-alcoholic Mai Tai.
Yeah.
It was definitely a 44, was the recipe, but different things came out in the drink that weren't normally there before. Like you drink the Mai Tai, it's like, oh yeah, there's the rum.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm drinking this drink that doesn't have rum. So now like the fake curacao comes out.
The fake curacao came out.
Or really the orgeat or whatever.
Lime juice kicks out a little bit more. The flavors of everything else become a lot more pronounced because you don't have the blanket of alcohol to cover everything. If you're going to be looking, the Ritual rum alternative, fantastic. Top choice, number one. If I was going to go from there, it's going to be the dark rum from Lyres, then the white rum from Lyres, and as a distant, not my favorite at all, this coconut rum alternative was a bit difficult, but is out there as an option if you need that coconut flavor.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, if you're looking for, if you need a coconut rum alternative, I know you got nothing to lose. It wasn't that much money. But I definitely, if you're going to stock up your non-alcoholic arsenal, I would recommend definitely get the Ritual, and definitely try to get the dark cane spirit.
Yeah.
And if you have a couple extra bucks, I'd get this too. And then I'd start experimenting with the different rum alternatives in your drinks and see what works best for you. If you're going to make any kind of tiki drink with any of these, it's probably going to taste good.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good tasting drink. One thing you got to remember, and just keeping this in mind, as you're going down the non-alcoholic route, is like, if you're expecting things to taste like rum and alcohol, and you're expecting things to taste exactly like their alcohol counterparts, you're going to be disappointed. But you got to change your expectations. I don't want to say lower your expectations. I just want to say change your expectations.
You're creating a new drink, and that new drink is going to be good as a standalone drink on its own. It's just like if you're trying to invent or play with classic tiki recipes, when you change the ingredients out, you're really making a new drink, and that new drink is either going to be good or not so good. And these will make really, really good drinks for you that won't taste exactly like you would have thought a traditional version would.
Sean, you couldn't. I couldn't have said it better. Exactly what Sean said. Even when it comes down to tiki drinks, it's all about good tasting drinks.
Absolutely.
That's it. And that's all that matters.
Every single time.
And I think that's the ethos of straight edge tiki. It's all about good tasting drinks, sans alcohol. One thing I'm noticing here is it's 10 calories.
Yes.
And so there's not a lot of sugar to these to begin with. And even as I'm looking at these, even with the Lyres, it's like 10 calories.
Yeah, for a serving. And the serving should be about the same number of ounces. So on...
So one thing is, like, if you're trying to cut down, is the sugar. Which
Right.
is not a bad thing, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fewer calories than in a traditional rum because a traditional rum is going to have had sugar in it.
Yeah,
Several of them.
You'll lose weight drinking non-alcoholic drinks.
That's right. There are health benefits.
This is better
beyond just not having the alcohol in your system to the non-alcoholic drinks.
This is just as good as eating broccoli.
Go ahead. I'll let you pour.
It's
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots today, and we're still gonna be able to drive home.
Yeah, and
Look at that. That's a great night.
And I can still do calculus.
Could you do calculus before?
No, I'm just kidding. Want to support the Tiki with Ray show and look cool doing it at the same time? Then head over to tikiwithray.com and buy yourself a Tiki with Ray shirt. They're only $20. Tony Canepa did the design, and they're screen printed in America.